Hi, good afternoon. Lovely to meet you all. Look, I'm really delighted you've joined me. I really want to explore your stories because you've got three very different stories about obviously your experience in the industry. And actually, love to hear about your thoughts of what you've found so far. Saskia, let's start with you because you came to the UK in 2008 from Kurdistan.
Yeah,
But you seem to have you had quite a fascinating period of time because you went to Birmingham College. Is that correct? First,
yeah, it was.
tell us a bit about your story.
Basically, I came here 2008. It was really hard for me beginning because I couldn't speak English because English was my second language. Uh, because my husband was here to support me to find a college to improve my basic English, and my aim was when I came here, I see different type of food, different type of culture, but have more opportunity, can learn more food. When I was in back home, I didn't have this opportunity to go to college or some class to learn foods. Basically, my first year was so hard. Every day I go to the library to bring a book, a recipe book to look around, but I couldn't understand and sit down and cry every day. I say, no, I have to prove myself to learn the language first. Like I have a couple of friends and neighbor, they encourage me. They say, "Oh, why not go to the course, learn the language, and go for cooking course?" I say, "Why not?" I joined the college 2014. It's called UCB College of Food. I think it's the best college in the UK. I have 3 years experience in there. I finished all my three-level diploma with them and have amazing experience with them. Basically, after I finished 3 years with them, I found a job like because the way we learn is like more French English style. I say I'm gonna change for something different. I go to the Japanese restaurant. I used to work in there for around 1 year, 1.5 year, and I left. I try to go for different type of restaurant like a Turkish restaurant, Chinese restaurant. Now I'm working in Indian restaurant. Basically, to my aim to learn Asian cuisine to twist around with um, Europeans, Middle East, to make my own taste, my own styles. That's my aim, basically, to learn more and make my own recipe book
That's very
uh,
good.
to on my restaurant one day, hopefully.
Sounds good. It seems like you've
Thank you.
fallen in love with cooking.
Oh, I love cooking. If I'm in the kitchen 24 hours, I don't complain. That's me. I love cooking. I love to cook for people, make food to make people happy from my foods. That's why I choose to be a chef or to cook for people to make people happy. How many a lot of time I go through a lot in my life because as a culture in my culture we're not allowed to work in the kitchens as a ladies because is more different to compare here. Here's more freedom one way. Even my family begin. I say I'm gonna go to do this kind of course. They say no, you're not allowed to go. It's long shift. It's hard for you. It's man job. Lady can't do that. They say if man can do that, I'll do too as well. It's nothing impossible. We are equal though. Why not? I'll go for it for something different. I don't want to copy somebody else. I want to do something that my heart wanted. Since I was a little girl, I'm looking for opportunity. I didn't have this opportunity, but when I come to the UK, I have more opportunity, meet people, see different type of chefs, see celebrity chefs, encourage you, show you the way. It was amazing. Basically, it's my dream to be a best female chef in the world one day, and I'm gonna work for it until my dreams come true. Basically,
I wish you luck on that one.
thank you,
That's a great ambition. We'll come
thank you.
back to it in a second. Safwan, let's start with you. Come to you because you were the youngest Indian takeaway owner in the UK at the age of 18. Is that correct?
So, thank you for your introduction. Um, the background history of my career actually began before I was born. My family have been in the restaurant industry for the last 3 generations. The first generation of my family on both sides of my maternal and paternal family. My grandfathers came to this country previously before Bangladesh was a country. So when India was one nation, and they set up restaurants in the first wave of Bangladeshi Indian restaurants in the country. My paternal grandfather decided to settle in a town called Royston in Hertfordshire, bordering to Cambridgeshire, where he opened the first restaurant in the region here called British Raj. He ran the restaurant for 25 years alongside my father, who came to the country some years later in the 1980s and 1990s. Towards the early 2000s, they began to struggle with recruiting new staff and new employees. And I myself was born in 1996, so I was in my adolescent years. And seeing my family in the restaurant industry and the success they had was always quite inspirational for me. Unfortunately, our restaurant closed in 2004 when my grandfather was ill and retired from the industry. My father had several ventures and then decided to retire later. But I was always, there was always this yearning to continue our family legacy, and I had the passion for hospitality in general, whether that was the cooking side of things or entertaining guests, visiting my other family restaurants across London and across the country. We had many restaurants. But when I was in secondary school in year 10, we had what's called work experience. And I decided to take my placement in an Italian restaurant in our town, which was very well known, part of an independent group who owned bars and restaurants in the area. And I began my first job as a kitchen porter come waiter. And after my placement, the management asked me to stay on because they saw there was some potential.
How old were you at this point?
At that time, I was 14 years old. So I was in year 10, the year before my GCSEs began. And after that, I progressed to other jobs in Indian restaurants in the area, so Bangladeshi Indian restaurants. I was headhunted by a local Indian restaurant, the owner who asked me to come on to increase and enhance the level of service, as I was born in this country, bring in a new dimension to the service side of things. And that grew, blossomed my passion from the industry which I was born into. From there, I decided that I wanted to do a business in this industry because I saw, the difference it made when you are passionate for your job. At the same time, you are knowledgeable in what you're doing. So my job at a very young age was to research what the customers were commenting. So looking into the TripAdvisor on social media and taking feedback, whether it was positive and negative, and giving training to the staff, to implement these new techniques or new styles of service, adding a level of customer service to the restaurant. Afterwards, I decided I need to research properly. So I delved into other parts of the industry. For example, I took several months of work in an Indian fine dining restaurant, which specialized in Nepalese food, which is very, very different from the typical Bangladeshi or Indian curry house. And after, thorough, extensive research, I realized, I'm in school going to my A-level studies in sixth form, and the capital I would need to open a new restaurant or to take over an existing restaurant would be huge and virtually impossible. And my family also were discouraging of this because, we've been in this industry for a long time. And much like the third generation or second generation of British Bangladeshis, my family wanted me to go for something, a different type of career. I actually wanted to become an accountant at one point. I have cousins who want to become doctors and lawyers. My sister is going to become a barrister, my younger sister. There were different career paths that were meant for us. And I pushed it. I said, I really am very, very passionate for this industry. And as I noticed there was such a big gap, I decided with the small capital that I could invest, a takeaway operation would be much more suitable for myself because of the less staff, the less stock, and the less man hours required. Because a restaurant, you have a lunch service, there are duties throughout the day and throughout the night, and it was going to be a big task. So I decided to research more into takeaways. I did an extensive project researching a local takeaway, and then I enrolled in what's called the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy, which was run by Peter Jones CBE, the investor on Dragon's Den. He had his own enterprise college. So I studied in Cambridge for a year. And during my studies, the academy supported me in developing a business plan. I was partnered with a local accountant, part of the Big Four. So the national, auditors who helped me in terms of structuring the finance and how I would work around reaping my investment as well as creating profitable business. And then I decided to take the bold step after I finished my studies at the Peter Jones Enterprise Academy at the age of 18, take over a local failing business. It was almost by accident, as the business I was pursuing during my year of study in the academy actually became sold to another party. So I lost the business I was planning, and this was my plan B. The location was terrible. The reputation was also terrible. And in general, there was a big challenge in front of me. There was almost starting with a clean slate. And fortunately, I managed to implement, my style of menu and technique. I was only 18 years old, so my local media picked up a story and put it in the newspaper as the youngest.
So how long have you been doing it for now?
So I started my job in 2012. I opened my first business in 2015. I then opened my second business in 2018 and subsequently sold my first business. So now I'm in my second venture, which we renamed the same name as our restaurant, which is called British Raj. In 2018, we opened as a takeaway here. And so now I'm in my 6th year of business here. When I started, my main thing was, when I learned in my studies, was to come up with a business plan with a clear and precise, and this is my advice to everyone, is to have a list of aims and objectives for the business. And my objectives were to get to a certain level of turnover per year, to accumulate some reputable recognition through the industry. For example, I wanted to become shortlisted in what's known as British Curry Awards. That's like the Oscars of our industry within 5 years. Unfortunately, I worked really hard and we were shortlisted in the first year. And the second year, a week before my first holiday, so I was a workaholic. I was working 7 days a week, day and night, in my community, in my business, and working around networking. And my my group of friends who I grew up with, they booked a holiday to a place called Ibiza without telling me, and in the summer of that year. And the week we were meant to leave, on that day, we were shortlisted for a competition called the Tiffin Cup at the House of Commons. This is a competition where an MP nominates their best restaurant or takeaway in their constituency to compete at the House of Commons. And it fell on the same day as my flight on my first holiday. So I made loads of sacrifices to ensure, we kept on working and going to the next level. And it was a great journey for me in my first business.
Did you win? Now, that's what we want to know. Now,
we won our constituency, and we didn't compete in the final competition, which was of the top 10 restaurants in the country. So I visited House of Commons to collect our award, and subsequently every year thereon, we were shortlisted for this competition at the House of Commons. So it was a fulfilling experience,
That's brilliant. Let's bring in Mahin now. You just graduated from Oxford Brookes. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Well done. You got two interesting people to, obviously, in terms of their stories here.
Yeah.
But you've obviously graduated, and actually one of the things reading your profile earlier, that you worked very hard at university to really develop the British Asian voice. Is that fair?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me on. My story is basically the same as Sarwaan, as my family's from a Bangladeshi background, and we were born in the Indian restaurant scene. I started working at my uncle's restaurant during like sixth form, just part-time job, just to get some money in through the doors. And I was deciding, what am I going to do afterwards? Like, I'm going to go to uni, etc. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be like just doing the same thing as everyone else. I wanted to do something that I kind of enjoy. So I thought one thing I like doing is traveling. So I thought I'd look into like travel and tourism, and then like hospitality came up as well. So when I came looking for universities, I came across Oxford Brookes, went for an open day, and decided to go from there. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Hospitality, like, I didn't realize how big of a world it is. I thought it was just like takeaways, restaurants, that kind of thing. But when I went there, I learned, you got hotels, cruise ships, airlines, and so many more things that you got going on there. And during the 4 years, I had a great time. In my second year, we had to do a placement. I did my placement in a hotel in Heathrow Airport, 720 rooms. I'd never worked in a hotel before, so it was a completely new experience, and every day was completely busy. So I learned a lot of skills from that. But ultimately, I wasn't sure that that's the thing I wanted to go into. So I was still, 2 years left. I was still thinking, what else can I do? There's a lot more things going on here. So I decided to apply for a role in the Back Society, which is like a student society at Oxford Brookes. They had a role for like marketing. You just like make some posters, do social media, that kind of thing. I thought, why not? I don't have much experience, but I'll give it a go. And I got the job and just started helping them promote some of their events. And I was like, this is really interesting. It's really fun for me as well. I thought I'm doing it for free for them, so I could probably do this. There's a lot of takeaways restaurants that don't have marketing or need marketing, so maybe I can help them. So during my third year, I decided to open my own marketing agency. I got a few clients in Oxford, just helping them with their marketing. And then during my fourth year, I learned something called revenue management, which is similar to marketing and sales. It's kind of like a combined role within hotels. 4 years ago, I'd never even heard of that, didn't even know it was a thing. And then that was the kind of thing I was pursuing. So basically what I'm doing now is trying to help as many local businesses as I can, just help with their marketing.
You see marketing as your feature?
Yeah, exactly. So when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing. Then I was going into hospitality. I was doing, front office role in a hotel. And now 4 years later, I'm going into marketing and kind of helping small businesses with their social media.
You have your own business doing that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's good, isn't it? So, Sazkar, let's come back to you, if that's okay. Where are you working now then? Sorry, just go back on this.
Basically, I'm working in the Indian restaurant. It's called Maya. It's a restaurant bar.
Yep.
I just started around nearly 2 months with them. Basically, I learned a lot already.
That's what I want to get to. You obviously want to become, as you said it, the leading female chef in the world.
Yeah.
What cuisine are you going to specialize in?
Because of my background is the Kurdish. I know more like Kurdish, but I prefer Asians.
There's a real interest there, isn't it? There's a growing interest.
Yeah, it is. It is like, I just basically, I want to do something like different or nobody done it before. For example, like bring Indian food twisted to Middle East, maybe, twist around the Kurdish or Persian food. Why not? It's not a limit for food. Yeah, that's the thing is I'm planning hopefully to make my own recipe book one day. Hopefully.
And this would be and your recipes, would this be a fusion between Kurdish and Indian and Asian foods styles?
Yeah, and add some little bit European as well, because some European food is really nice as well. Just twist around.
And what's been your best experience?
For me,
what's been your highlight so far?
Basically, the best experience was 2018. I've been to the Luxembourg for the competition. It was like one of my dreams come true. Basically, I saw all the things in TVs and the people talking about it. I say, I'm gonna go there. It's one of my dreams come true to see all that different type of food is in there and different type of chef coming to all the world, all the celebrity people's in there. It was amazing skill for me, basically, because I have my family. If I know I don't want to come back here, they were so loving the food, staying whole weeks, day and night. Was in the show and looking around. I think I took more than 3,000-4,000 pictures, like in whole weeks. The way I see in there, it was, I don't know, it's like a dream for me, basically. It was something different. All the foods you can see, you say, oh my God, this is unique. I never see something like that in my life. But it was an amazing experience, especially for me as a young commis chef to go this kind of place. It was good experience. Basically, whole weeks when we there, I have to help out. For example, one of the chefs, pastry chef, his name Leo. The night before we plan what to do for tomorrow and how to plate up the desserts. Basically, I have an idea. I say, why not do something like that? For example, I have a brush, do this style, maybe it's come out good. You say, why not? I'll listen to you. I was so excited as a good chef and have experience. Give him opportunity to give my, idea to him. It was good for me basically to learn something from him, and he still listened to me. Pick up my idea as well.
You come a long way in 6 years.
It is.
Have you had a mentor?
Pardon?
Have you had a mentor? Who's inspired you?
The first person that guided me was a chef. It's called Najib Ali. Basically, after my first job, I go to the Asian, like the Turkish cuisines. One of the head chef was there, and I explained basically is my aim to be a chef, to go out, try different things, go to competitions, and because I've been to competition once 2014 was my first competition. I've been there. I present UCB college for seafood competition. It was an amazing experience. I was nervous basically because the people around to me, they say to my teacher, say, oh, she can't do that because she can't speak English properly. How can she do that? He say, no, I know her skills. I know her passions. She can do it. I believe she can do it. And I then basically the first, we came as a first for Birmingham. The final, we came the fourth. It was my first competition when I done it. It was fun. Like it was something different for me. And after I come to the second job, the guy say, chef say, I will help you because it's very rare you can see female chef in the industry. Basically, it's majority is a man. I stay 1 year with them basically, and after I left, I stayed because it's more girl type. I prefer more fine dining basically. You know, I done it for temporarily, but I'm looking for more fine dining versions. Uh, After a while, I left. I said, let me go for Chinese. If I couldn't find dining, I'm gonna go for Chinese. Learn some Chinese skills as well. Work in the work sections. I work in there 1 year. And again, I come back to the same chef. You have another restaurant that's called I say, come work for me. I give you opportunity to learn Asian cuisines. I say, oh, wow, that's another dream because it's hard to work with Asian people to teach you everything because they say, no, lady, are now not allowed to come inside the kitchens to cook with man because the culture is basic. It's about the cultures. I've been Thursday. I've been there. I work with them. They're lovely people, but they never work with ladies. You know, it was hard for me and it's hard for them. But the guy, they say, no, you can't work with man. You can't be in the kitchen with us. I say, why not? What's the difference? If you can't cook, I can cook too. You know, just give me time. I'll prove myself. You know, it's all about timing, basically. And I believe one day I can beat all of them as well.
All three of you are, all three of you are clearly very determined characters. Sarwaan, coming back to you. I mean, you started your business at 18. And looking back now, did you start too young or do you think you started at the right time?
I think it was the perfect time for me because I'd accumulated several years of experience on the floor of the industry. I worked in various restaurants of different levels of dining, so from casual Italian dining to the middle range Indian restaurant.
Okay. So what's been the hardest lesson for you?
The hardest lesson for me during the beginning of my stewardship, when I began my first business, was generally managing staff who were almost twice my age and ensuring that, at the very beginning, it was very tough to manage not only the staff, but ensure that I wasn't taken advantage of by, various sides of the business. So from the customer side, the staff and my suppliers. But very quickly, I managed to stay level-headed and, I had the same team for 5 years. I was very proud. My staff were very loyal and, they were very receptive to the leadership I implemented, and we were, very well rewarded during that time. So the beginning was the challenging time for me, and the beginning of any business is the make or break. As you know, the statistics say within the first 18 months to 2 years, a business will fail. And I struggled very much at the beginning. It was sustaining the lost period. And I think if I was any older, I would have struggled too much because at that time I had no dependence. I was, an individual. I didn't have any duty to my household, or my family at the time didn't need me to support them, which was very fortunate for me that I had that support and backup. But were I to be, a married man in my 30s with kids and a mortgage to pay, I probably would have failed at that time. So I think it was perfect time for me to start. And now I feel I'm like 50 years old, in the space of 5 years, which is great. I really do appreciate those times. It was great for me. That was the challenge.
That's good. Mahin, how about you? Obviously, you set a business up while at university. Your experience, What have you learned by student spirit?
I learned that you just got to follow your passion, to be honest with you. It can be, not everyone wants to do something that, like to start their own business, but even if it's just doing a job that you want to do, work with someone else, just take the risk and go for it. Of course, it's going to be scary at first. You get into something you might not know, or you don't know what's going to happen. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when you're doing something you love, it won't feel like work, and you'll feel like more committed to doing more than you have to. And I think now we have more chance than ever. 2020, we have so much opportunities, and you can basically do whatever you want. So you should just do what you're passionate about and just take the risk, take the jump.
And what's been the hardest part for you?
Probably just when I started, I was just doing it all myself. I didn't really have a vision. I was just kind of just going for it myself. So just learning that you don't have to do everything yourself. You got people to support you, and make sure that you're making the most of your network as well. There's people around you that want to help you. So just make sure you're making the most of that.
And your advice to people graduating now? What do you say? Best to your colleagues.
Yeah, I'll just say, follow your passion. Like, just don't get a job because it pays you so much or because you feel like you have to. Take the time to find what you're passionate about and just follow that, because we're going to be working for however many years. Make sure that every day you go in, you're making the most of those days and most of those hours.
All right, final question, because the people listening to this will be quite senior, established industry players. A piece of advice to them? What would you like to see changed, Mahin?
I'd say give us a chance. Sometimes obviously you got people applying, so many people applying for the same job, and you got people that are more experienced or whatever. Maybe in this instance, COVID, like we have people from hospitality industry and the hospitality background who might be applying for roles in a different industry because of the situation. But, we have so much experience and so many versatile skills. Just give us a chance and you'll see the rewards pay off.
Very fair. Sarwaan, a piece of advice to senior people?
I think my two notes of advice would be to never lose hope. And there's never an end to learning. You can always learn something. There's always something to learn until the day your life ends. Like my learned friend Mahin, I studied in university. When I started my first business, I enrolled for a degree in marketing, and I enjoyed very much a new perspective of marketing. Much broader perspective that wasn't within the four walls of my Indian takeaway. Understanding the customer psychology and the relationship between business to business. The value of networking, which I'll echo from Mahin, is that you enhance your network because you never know what a connection will bring you. For example, today in this group meeting we're having, my respected elder colleagues Motlekuddin and Shah, they were the ones who brought me into this meeting today. So every connection is a valuable one, and to never give up. Not to lose hope, and like Mahin said, you can start fresh again. There are so many opportunities in the world, and we're just in a small island in a nation called Great Britain. So there's endless opportunities everywhere.
Very good, well done. Sazkar?
Basically, for me, I recommend follow your dreams. Don't listen negative people around to you, because for me, I go through a lot. Wherever people around to me, most of the time they are negative. They put yourself down. You can't do it. It's hard because the way you basically your gender, but nothing is impossible if you follow dreams. You can do it. Just be positive. Block your ear, both of them, from negative people, and follow your dreams. Nothing's impossible. If different people can do that, you can do too. Don't put yourself, and work hard. Whatever you do from your heart. Put a love in there, and you'll be successful as well.
Well, look, it's been a pleasure listening to all three of you. Congratulations on your success, and I look forward to watching your success as you go forward as well. So,
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.